Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where we have coffee, check, we have books to talk about, and sadly we don't have any rain, but that's okay, because here in Alabama, especially in the hottest parts of the summer, we don't always get rain when we need it. I think when I walked my puppies outside, the grass was really starting to get crispy, and so I try my best to take my pups out, like either in the morning when it's not too hot, or in the evening when the shade is kind of on our side of the building and it's kind of covering their grassy area. Sadly, I just have to take them when I need to take them because they're little senior guys. One's 12 and one's 7, so they kind of got to go when they got to go, but we try to stay on the grass as much as humanly possible. But poor little guys, they don't get to go as much right now in this hottest part of the summer because it's just miserable for everyone. However, what I do bring to the table today is a couple of books. Now, I am going to record a couple episodes, so you're going to see me looking like this for a couple of episodes. You're going to see that my hair looks a little bit different from what it did. I gave myself slightly darker roots because I thought the white was a little bit much. I think I was just getting used to seeing myself with a slightly rooted look, and so this is pretty much the same, but I thought that maybe the roots needed to be just a little darker to help give some dimension. Now it is frizzy because of the humidity. It is gross outside, so we are staying indoors. But that's okay because we will talk about books, and we are going to talk about A Certain Kind of Starlight by Heather Weber. Now, this author came out of nowhere for me. I think I picked up one of her books previously because she had a book called, I think it was called The Coffee Shop of Curiosities. And when I read it, I was absolutely blown away, and it hit me in all the right places. 5 stars from me. I'm talking, it had everything that I was looking for in just a cozy, feel-good sort of book. It wasn't too fantastical. I would say, if anything, magical realism. And then I picked this book up just really based on the cover because there was something that was drawing to me about, like, throw Starlight in the title, you're probably going to get me. Again, you see this cover and it's just so inviting. This is definitely my aesthetic when it comes to a book. And it wasn't until I actually finished reading this book that I realized it was the same author who wrote The Coffee Shop of Curiosities. Now, I don't think I did an episode on the coffee shop one, but I think I'm going to go back and do one because it was a book that has just lingered with me so long. And when I finished this book, I was like, wow, it gave me that same sort of really good home feeling, this feeling of being welcomed, of finding family, of finding your place of belonging. It gives me all of those really good vibes from a kind of a small town mentality, and all of the really good feelings that come from that. And I was like, I've felt that before from a book. And I put it together that it's the same author for both of these books. And so I'm going to have to end up getting a lot of Heather Weber's other works because she seems to be an author whose works resonate really well with me. So now that I've kind of gushed about her for a little bit, I am going to talk about A Certain Kind of Starlight, which is what this episode is about. In the face of hardship, 2 women learn how to rise up again under the bright side of the stars. Everyone knows that Addie Fulbright can't keep a secret. Yet 12 years ago, as her best friend lay dying, she entrusted Addie with the biggest secret of all. One so shattering that Addie felt she had to leave her hometown of Starlight, Alabama, to keep from revealing a devastating truth to someone she cares for deeply. Now, she's living a lonely life, keeping everyone at a distance, not only to protect the secret, but also her heart from the pain of losing someone else. But when her beloved aunt, the woman who helped raise her, gets a shocking diagnosis and asks her to come back to Starlight to help run the family bakery, Addie knows it's finally time to go home again. Tessa Jane feels like she's failing. She's always been able to see the lighter side of life, but lately, darkness has descended. Her world is suddenly in shambles after a painful breakup. Her favorite aunt's unexpected heart troubles, and because crushing expectations from the Wingrove side of her family are forcing her to keep secret and make painful choices. When she's called back to Starlight to help her aunt, she's barely holding herself together and fears she'll never find her way back to who she used to be. So, this book, I didn't really know what to expect from it. I think when I was kind of reading a little bit of the synopsis just on NetGalley, just kind of wondering if I was going to request it or not, there was a little bit. I think one of the keywords in it was like family fiction, magical realism, contemporary. And honestly, I think what the biggest seller for me was the cover. When I'm on NetGalley, I don't usually check anywhere else. I'm just like, oh, that one looks promising. Oh, that looks really good. And I love being able to find these like nuggets that maybe are indie published or that are trade published or what have you that maybe haven't gotten a lot of traction yet. Well, this one, and I'm just on Goodreads now so I could read you guys the summary because, I mean, I could probably give you my own summary, but then I might ramble a little bit, which I will do here in a second. But as I'm on the Goodreads website now, I do see that it's being well received. This book will release on July 23rd, and so I'm going to try to release this episode as close to that date as possible. I would love if you guys would give this a chance. It is a cozy read. There are moments of tension, but it's not like overwhelming. There are characters you're absolutely not gonna like, and there are characters you're going to love. I promise there are dogs, and the dogs, they make it. They survive. We all love it when the pets make it. I will say the ending for this book absolutely broke me. I was gutted when the end came. I was like, okay. I did feel a little bit of kind of tears welling, which is so rare for me. So I want to say that Heather Weber has that ability when not a lot of people do that for me. Like, the only other thing that I think does that for me, gives me that kind of that tear welling, kind of like tightness in my throat, is like dog commercials or stories about dogs being good boys and good girls. When pets are like involved and they've been like super brave, like those stories will make me so mushy every time. Well, the ending of this book made me so mushy. I didn't expect it. So kudos to you, Miss Weber, for being able to do that. I absolutely loved it. As a girl who has grown up in the South for most of her life, now I have traveled around a little bit, but most of my family is here in the South. My three aunts are still over on my dad's side. My three aunts are still over in Louisiana. So there were characters that throughout this book, now though it happens in Alabama, they reminded me of some of my aunts and the quirkiness and like who would I have cast as Aunt Bean in my mental kind of like casting, because I kind of like to do that sometimes, especially if it is like a southern like Alabama base, like who am I casting from my life into these sorts of things, because I have grown up in, I wouldn't say small town like South, but I have lived in areas that are smaller. And like, I mean, my dad definitely lives in a very small farm town in Louisiana, and I mean, we go and I think you see as many tractors on the road as you do cars on the road, so it's just, it is what it is. But that's what this, I think that's why this book resonated so well with me. And her coffee shop of curiosities, it takes place in, I think it's like southern Alabama or Mississippi. It might have been Gulfport or Gulf Shores or somewhere down on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Still in that vein of being in the southern states, in that area that I really know very well. And so again, it hits me in these vibes of not only nostalgia, but of familiarity. And the things that happen within the book are also there's a level of magical realism that happens, and then there's a level of believability as well. So Aunt Bean has a bakery, and she is apparently like this incredible baker. I do think I'm going to try this trick of making vanilla extract with bourbon, because that sounds like a fantastic experiment that I would like to try. Although I don't have her secret ingredient, and I'm not going to spoil what that is, because that comes like with reading the book. And there's so many little pieces of this book that are about like growth and like not only finding like family, but reconnecting with family that you had. And there's a lot of kind of coming to terms with things, like people need to stop hiding so many things, not only from themselves but from other people, because they think they're protecting other people when in fact they're really only hurting themselves even more. And that's a running theme throughout this book as well, is that there's this level of throw a blanket over it and then nobody will know. And that is a true thing in the South. It's like, if you don't talk about it, then no one will know about the dirty laundry that's underneath. Like, we'll just throw a blanket over it. And the problem is, you can only sweep it under the rug or throw a blanket over it for so long before it does actually become an issue. And that's one of those things that we're kind of running into in this particular book, is a lot of the people in this book have things that they need to face, and they need to work with other people to work through. And they need to be honest with each other. They need to be honest with themselves. And that can be a tough topic for some people. But I think this book does it in such a way that it makes it a very inviting read. And I think that's why I find it to be personally a cozy read for me. There are, like I said, there are moments that are a little tense. There are moments that will make you kind of angry, especially at particular characters. I, for one, like, anybody who reads this book will absolutely not like the grandfather. I mean, if you like the grandfather, there's something wrong with you. But I 100% am willing to bet that Miss Heather Weber has written this grandfather as the bad guy. Like, he is like Emperor Palpatine. You are not supposed to like this dude. He is the baddie, and he sets the standard of like totally bad. But then there's all these other layers and all these other levels of people. It's like, okay, if this guy's totally bad, where do these other people fall on this kind of scale of what they've like either been hiding or things like that? And can they show a level of good? Like, do they have a light inside of them that has a redeeming factor for them? And like Aunt Bean, she is more like the all good sort of, like, I guess, perspective. Now, I mean, there are quite a few characters who are very much very good. And I mean, everybody's gonna have some quirks. Everybody's gonna be a little bit like, I mean, they're all gonna have their things. But I would say if anybody is like the all good to the, like, the all bad character, like if the all bad is the grandfather, then the all good character would be Aunt Bean. She has this beautiful light, and this town and the village, or the Starlight, everybody loves her. She also kind of knows a little bit of everything about everyone. She knows everybody's business, and she's just a wonderful, beautiful soul. And she helps other people see that in themselves as well. But anyway, I love this book. I really hope you'll give it a chance. I think it, like I said, I think it comes out on July 23rd. It is a standalone. It is to what I'm like. I see that Heather Weber has other books. I definitely am going to go out and find them. I'm going to do an episode on her Coffee Shop of Curiosities because I've already read it, and it came out in, I believe, 2022. I think it was one of my favorite books of 2022, but I don't think I had established this channel yet. So think I'm going to have to go back and do an episode for it. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments below what your favorite pastry is. That would be awesome. But anyway, I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.